Today on Here's the Truth with Georgia Ford.
The work of racial justice, the work of racial equity for the city of Minneapolis was always set to fail.
Scathing accusations from a former City of Minneapolis director, why she's calling the city anti-black, and a man is punished for being a good Samaritan. Why he could face jail time for turning a gun over to police. Plus, we introduce you to a 12-year-old artist and entrepreneur. And buckle up for a joyride with spoken word artist Brandyn Tulloch.
It's juicy. Of course,
Here's the Truth starts right now. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm independent journalist Georgia Ford. We begin today's show with a former City of Minneapolis director's allegations of a toxic and anti-black workplace. Tyestia Green says she believes she was pushed out of her position, and now she's telling her story.
I don't believe that Minneapolis is serious about equity and inclusion.
Tyestia Green, the former City of Minneapolis Director of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, pens a memo accusing leadership of anti-black practices and a toxic work environment.
Most of what Minneapolis is doing is performative. None of this is going to make a difference in the lives of people who live here.
The 14-page memo details her experiences of racism at the city, with the I Am My Ancestors' Wildest Dreams Expo at the center of it all. Tyestia believes leadership intentionally delayed planning for months, which impacted attendance negatively.
On February 21st, I had resigned my position as director because of the backlash that I received over the expo that hadn't happened yet, and the clear sabotage that I thought was happening with the city enterprise of this expo.
Tyestia says she offered to resign after being accused of violating what she calls 2 fake ethics policies. City officials also asked her to rescind her resignation and eventually pushed her out.
I resigned because of racism and toxic work environment, and I kept that resignation because of the same. But I was also told to leave or asked to leave after I sent that 14-page memo.
And you feel like it was retaliation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The city plans to audit the expo after a Star Tribune report questioned the expo's finances. In total, it cost taxpayers roughly $500,000.
I don't think that they're going to find anything improper that was done by me, but I do think that they're going to find that there were a lot of back and forth with myself, my staff, and the procurement team.
Do you feel like you were equipped with the resources that you needed to be able to do your job?
I do not, and Heather Johnston knew that.
Heather Johnston is the city's operations manager who Tyestia reported to.
The work of racial justice, the work of racial equity for the city of Minneapolis was always set to fail. It was set to fail in December when they passed that budget, knowing that I didn't have any funds to complete those projects.
She says Johnston insisted on the event despite her advice to cancel it.
I told her, I can't accept a white woman telling me what a culturally appropriate expo looks like for people who look like me.
Tyestia believes Johnston set up several roadblocks in the planning process and is responsible for the expo's performance.
I feel like there's a lot of people who should be fired at the city. Heather Johnston is one of them.
She is truly among the finest public servants that I have ever had the opportunity to work with, and I'm lucky to have met her. And if we are truly honest with ourselves, we could not do this job better than Heather Johnston has.
She was nominated for her current position by Mayor Jacob Frey, despite heavy concerns last year over an unsafe working environment. We've reached out to Johnston's office, but have not heard back.
I've had the opportunity to work under her direction since August of 2021 and believe that she lacks the necessary competencies to provide staff in the coordinator's office and enterprise with a safe and anti-racist workplace.
In her memo, she mentions moving goalposts and double standards, and I think a clear example of those is her treatment that has happened relating to this incident. And so with those accusations, Director Green has been terminated swiftly.
Gina Obiri is currently a program manager for the city's Office of Performance and Innovation.
On the flip side, Heather Johnston last year, over 70 of us came forward publicly at great personal and professional risk to let City Council know that we did not support Heather's appointment to City Coordinator.
I am here to ask you to vote no to Mayor Frye's nomination of Heather Johnson for City Coordinator.
So even though there were accusations against her for an actual written policy at the city, and we didn't have the results of those investigations until they were released a couple days ago, she still continued on in her leadership position and causing harm.
She is one of many people in that system who is very much at the crux of this and so many other instances of racism and harm we see going on there.
Track is a former trans equity project coordinator for the city who worked directly under both Tyestia and Joy Marsh, the office's only 2 directors since it was founded in 2021.
Right before Director Marsh left, she sent Heather Johnston, who was then, I guess, the interim coordinator, a report that we had done compiling the experiences of everyone in our office. And this report showed we were really proud of the work we did, but the city was never the cause of the work. The city was the barrier and the thing we had overcome to still manage to do some of it.
He believes both Marsh and Tyestia's departures are no coincidence.
I never heard any acknowledgement of that report being sent, so not only were they not concerned that the office collapsed, essentially, but they were not looking into the reasons it happened, which had been given to them in so many different formats, including that report.
We obtained the findings from the investigation into these claims, which reveal reports of microaggressions and dismissive behavior to several Black employees, but add that the findings are enterprise issues that have to be addressed company-wide.
Not all but much of what was in there I already knew. I can confirm it's accurate. Everything that I did not already know, I was not surprised by.
They have a really strong propaganda arm that is determined to defame and destroy me. I feel like they come really hard for people who are pushing back hard against them. And so maybe I did my job in that sense.
It's not so much that the enterprise has an issue with Black women as leaders, but they do have an issue with Black women as leaders if those Black women are going to go against the status quo. If those leaders are going to be vocal, are going to express when they've been harmed, when their staff have been harmed, when their communities have been harmed, that's the type of Black leadership that the city has an issue with.
I'm here to ask for your leadership, to take the concerns of Black employees seriously, and to do something to address our racist culture in the city.
Tyestia believes her division was not valued due to lack of resources and misguidance.
My original office was a reflection of that, and I literally had to beg to get out of that space.
Tyestia says her original office space was small, infested with mice, and shared a wall with the county jail.
The days you hear grown men crying, it really does something to you. And praying, to get out of whatever situation that they're in. And sometimes as soon as you open the door, you can smell the dead mice before you even unlock the door to get into the space. No windows, very tucked away, very hard to find. And so I told my team that, they don't have to show up to come into that space because it was very depressing.
And the memo also accuses multiple city officials of spreading lies, including Councilwoman Latricia Vita, who Tyestia says defamed her.
What do you say to the accusations that have been made about you specifically?
I mean, it's just fake. It's completely false.
But where the councilwoman and Tyestia agree is who is culpable for the damages some vendors suffered.
What I'm trying to do as a council member is figure out a way that we can give back to these people who lost. Like, I can't get to the next event if we can't work on the damage that we've caused to people in the current event. Like, it may be over for some people, but it's not over for me as a council member because I have, 30 small businesses who are reaching out on a regular basis saying, I took a hard hit.
I'm disappointed too. And I feel really bad for those vendors who had high hopes. We needed this as a Black community. I wanted this to be an economic boom for those vendors. It was unfortunate that the city wouldn't let me promote it until 3 days before the event.
Tyestia says she now wants to see the city take accountability for her treatment and the internal dysfunction.
Will I stay in racial equity? More than likely, because I can't see myself doing anything else. But where I do that, it probably won't be here in Minnesota. I'm not asking for my job back. I don't want it back at this point. But I do want people to be held accountable for what they've done.
What was I supposed to do, bro? I told you earlier. You did the right thing.
A Minnesota man could be facing jail time after doing what he thought was the right thing. Stephen Cooper, the man seen in this body cam footage, turned in a gun to his parole officer, but because he has a violent offense on his record, having possessed it even momentarily is a violation of his parole. Cooper believed the firearm belonged to his brother. St. Louis County Attorney's Office charged him with felony possession of a firearm, which carries a minimum sentence of 5 years. Stephen tells us he will be holding a public press conference in the coming weeks. We will continue following this story as it develops. Still ahead, a 12-year-old painter is cashing in on her canvases, how she's turned her art into a business.
I want my art to be all around the world one day.
And in this week's Joyride, Brandyn Tulloch shares how he finds space for joy while pushing for Black liberation. Get access to extended interviews and exclusive content by becoming a monthly subscriber. Support the truth. Go to georgiaford.com, select support, and become a monthly subscriber today.
Welcome to El Tejaban.
Oh, thank you.
We pride ourselves on using the freshest ingredients, just like our abuelitas used to. From our signature birria tacos to our fresh guacamole, there's something for everyone at El Tejaban. And don't forget to try our famous margaritas made from the freshest juices and best tequilas. Join us at El Tejaban and experience our Mexican restaurant.
Are you not confident in your smile? Well, we have a plan for you. Here at Code White Teeth Whitening, we are here to help you reach your smile goals. We're offering up to 70% off your commitment. Now that's something to smile about. Book your session today at codewhitesmile.com and always remember to keep smiling.
Kobe creates the scents and sounds for restorative self-care. From burned out to calm and lit, we hand pour each soy-based candle and create a playlist to match. Because we believe self-care is a whole vibe. Light, listen, and vibe. Shop our products at lovekobeco.com.
When we think of entrepreneurship and branding, we're accustomed to thinking they're powered by adults. But what if I told you a 12-year-old girl is turning her canvases into a thriving art business right here in the Twin Cities? Today we introduce you to Ella, the force behind Vibe Art. A calming presence in markets across the Twin Cities.
I paint on wood and I do different things.
Packing bold creations.
Some of my abstracts, they show colors.
And bundles of joy. With every stroke of her paintbrush, 12-year-old Ella is coating her canvas intentionally with depictions of peaceful getaways and empowering Black images.
The reason I choose the name Vibe Art is because it means visual inspiration by Ella, and I really want to give people inspiration when they see my art and make them feel happy.
Vibe Art is a bright exhibit that gets people from all walks of life to stop in admiration.
Well, I always want it to be colorful and bright so people could attract to my booth and see my art and how I use so many different colors and incorporate so many colors into my art. Well, it always comes from my mind because I look at beautiful sunsets and I see all the colors.
What began as a hobby
It was during the COVID pandemic when I was about 9 years old. And I was really bored and I didn't know what to do. So I had a few brushes and canvases laying around and I really wanted to do something different. Once I painted, I knew that I had a gift.
Turned into her teaching classes and showcasing her crafts in spaces where she's often the youngest in the room.
I'm going to my art sale on Saturday.
I heard about that. Pretty exciting.
I'm really happy that I get to show the world that I'm a young artist and there's not many people like me.
But Ella also embraces the art of business.
I got a lot of customers and people took home my product and they're posting it on my Instagram website. And I'm just so glad to have people come to my booth and support me. A lot of my paintings have a lot of value to them, and I'm really sad sometimes when I let go of my really good paintings. But sometimes I'm like, they're in a safe home, people love my art, and they'll treat it really well.
Ella says she already has a bank account for her business and always makes sure to reinvest her profits back into Vibe Art.
Well, obviously I have to save money and I have to just use it for the right things. Like sometimes I have to put toward my business and look at costs and expenses.
Using a gift she's possessed since being a toddler.
It just really comes from the inside and it's happy, and yeah, that's what I do.
She's standing in her purpose with big goals for the future.
The plan is for me to have an art studio and to be high off with galleries and people seeing my paintings, and I just want to be seen.
With the unwavering support of her family.
You got it? Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, wow, there's so many people who are still here and I'm the only 12-year-old. But it makes me feel good because I have family to help me and to inspire me and lift me up.
Usually all I do is acrylic, but I just wanted to go out of my comfort zone, so these two birds are oil. It's all beautiful, but I'm drawing birds.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
To give her this knowledge and wisdom now, it's super exciting because I think it gives me a lot of hope for the future of what more and how amazing she could be in the future.
Well, I feel really happy because someone's taking home one of my products and that they could show other people and show their friends and family. And I want my art to be all around the world one day.
I want Ella to see how taking on your own love and passion for something can turn into something beautiful. Work doesn't have to be work. If you have a gift that you've been given and you decide that you want to share it with the world, it can be fun.
And she's striving to be a light for other young artists like herself.
I wish them the best luck, and I know that they could do well because a 12-year-old girl is painting at this young age. And I just want that to inspire them and say, I could do that and I could be just like her.
Coming up after the break, we go on a joyride with spoken word artist Brandyn Tulloch.
Is there a cuss word in that? We can't cuss on TV.
There is a cuss word in that.
We can't cuss on TV? I'm trying to get a season 2, y'all.
Are you looking for a unique shopping experience? One that celebrates and supports Black businesses and culture? Introducing the Black Market, the ultimate destination for all your shopping, eating, and entertainment needs. At the Black Market, you'll find over 70 Black-owned vendors, all under one roof. From food and fashion to books and art, there's something for everyone at the Black Market. So come visit on the second Saturday of the month from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. to experience the best of what Black businesses have to offer. Visit the Black Market today and show your support for Black businesses and culture. Black business is beautiful at the Black Market.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Being a parent, especially for the first time, with that comes a lot of self-doubt. As a dad, I just try to lead by example. When you're trying to be the best person that you can be, your kids see that and then they emulate that.
2C all the way to 4C. I know it's our 2C sometimes, but I foresee a better future for you all.
In this week's Joyride, spoken word artist and author Brandyn Tulloch shares how he finds space for joy while pursuing Black liberation.
Brandyn, are you from Minnesota?
Yes, I grew up in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, so suburbs of St. Paul. I went to Park High School, graduated class of 2015.
You've become a very well-known activist in Minneapolis.
We have nothing to lose, but our chains say we have nothing to lose.
How do you unplug from the movement and the struggle and just find peace?
My art has always been an escape and an outlet for me. Like middle school, maybe high school, like I did a lot of music. I'm not gonna say I was a SoundCloud rapper at one point in my life or nothing like that.
Let me find out.
I don't go searching too hard.
You might find some of my tracks. I got bars.
But it was always like, my writing was always the strongest part of what I did, right? Like, if you don't think I can sing, if you don't think I can rap, that's fine, that's your opinion. You can't tell me my writing isn't good. I still don't really even consider myself a poet for real. I just am someone who has some things to say sometimes.
But I gotta do what I gotta do to make it to another night. All I got is fight or flight. And we've been fighting for hundreds of years, so running is all I got left. But look at what white folks did to Ahmaud Arbery. And look what the police did to Dante Wright. Y'all say his fear was irrational, but they're the ones who took his life. So his fear of being murdered by the police should be justified, right?
When's your birthday?
In a couple weeks.
I'm gonna get you The Rose That Grew from Concrete.
Okay.
It is one of my favorite books. I love Tupac.
I don't know, I've just never been much of a reader. It just happens to be that I am the best at writing my thoughts down and I hope that people will read them. I don't know, maybe I'm a hypocrite.
I don't watch TV a lot, but we're doing a TV show.
There we go, same thing.
My least favorite creation could be somebody's favorite creation of mine.
I can't believe they took the fist down.
Yeah, I don't know when they did that.
We just pulled up to the intersection where Dante Wright was killed by police.
All these protests I was going to, they were all black women led, black women organized. As the uprising continued, I learned that you have to use what privilege you have to talk about issues that you may not experience.
I want to hear Black Queens.
Okay. My curly-headed queens, from 2C all the way to 4C.
I know it's hard 2C sometimes, but I foresee a better future for you all.
To my sisters, I presume you appreciate apologies, but I'm positive you prefer progress.
So I promise you my best. I promise in my presence you will always be protected and respected. Any less cannot be accepted.
I will ride for you, just like I know you would ride for me. It's not enough to just follow your lead, but as a man, it's too much to make it about me, so alongside you is where I'll be. Because as long as black women are still subjected to this world's injustices, we must fight so we can all be free.
I love it. Love it, love it. That's dope.
Yeah.
I see the wordplay.
Yeah,
you said my 4C and my 2C.
2C to 4C.
It's 2C to 4C.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I've
been doing some things sometimes, man. Sometimes.
I love it. I love it. In your wildest dreams, what do you hope to achieve with your art?
It would be really cool for my art to stand the test of time. Like, so my father is a Jamaican immigrant. So I have been recently trying to tap into my Jamaican roots. Bob Marley and his music has stood the test of time and is sung by people fighting for liberation across the world. Like, if it holds that type of weight for generations down the road, that would be the craziest thing to me.
Well, I appreciate you, my brother, and I appreciate your time today. I appreciate your commitment and fight to our liberation. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna give you a hug. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Today's Joyride is sponsored by Nail Partners, bringing a renewed approach to commercial real estate and urban planning.
Thanks so much for watching Here's the Truth. For extended versions of these stories and more, head over to georgiafort.com. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday at 11.
Next week on Here's the Truth with Georgia Fort.
More than 100,000 black women and girls were reported missing.
How a Minnesota lawmaker is pushing to support missing black women and girls.
We don't even understand the full scope of this crisis.
Plus, fathers across the Twin Cities are celebrating their daughters with the annual Father-Daughter Dance. And buckle up for a joyride with gospel rapper For Real.
I used to be lost, now that I'm found, now that I shine,
Wearing the crown. Hey,
Watch Here's the Truth with Georgia Fort, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on the CW Twin Cities.
Are you ready to get in the best shape of your life? At Sir Boxing Club, we offer high-intensity workouts that will push you to your limits and help you reach your fitness goals. Our gym is equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and a family atmosphere. Experienced trainers will guide you every step of the way, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned fighter. Come join us today and start your journey towards a stronger, healthier you.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
In a society that we were brought up in, it's very hard on little black boys. You have to navigate feelings and emotions so the world don't get you.
Sometimes when I cry, I won't know how I'm feeling or why I'm crying.
I just grew up never feeling like it was okay to cry.
Yeah.
And so he really forced me to have to reconnect with the kid that didn't get to cry.
That's beautiful.
We don't cry, we gon' take our piece of the pie.
Attacks against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are on the rise.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer. In terms of the hate crimes, I think there is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart, and so they need you to stand with them.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan today for the tools and tips you need to protect that legacy.